I'm Jeremiah with ENS, and I have Aaron Miller on the line here, who has been running the Habitat, was it food court in Royal Roads University? Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
Okay, perfect. And you have three of our media players there.
That's correct.
And when I look at the uptime, I'm looking at the last 10 days of uptime. The last 10 days, you're at 100%.
That's correct.
Now, what has been the uptime since we switched over to running those industrial grade micro SD cards?
100%.
And how long has that been now?
About a month and a half.
Yeah, so 100% uptime across three devices over about a month and a half. And what was your uptime previously?
It varied. Well, actually, I had a couple of the units were down for some time while I waited for new cards, but the uptime would vary depending on the brownouts or the power issues that we were having here. Every time we got a major brownout or a power surge or something like that on that thing, they would stop operating, and then some of the machines would I could get up and running a card, but if I used just a standard SD card, it could fail again. So it was kind of up and down, but since putting these new cards in, I've had no issues.
So to recap, Royal Roads University has electrical spikes or drops, specifically brownouts, where you'll get a spike, or you'll get a drop in power. And you were running retail grade micro SD cards and experiencing that you would be popping micro SD cards like crazy, right?
That's correct.
You'd put a new one in and it'd last for a little while and then it'd roast within days or weeks.
That's correct.
And so when we switched over to industrial, since then you've had 100% uptime.
That's correct.
Awesome. So I'm going to talk a little bit more here about why. Okay, and it's really this simple. Retail grade memory is layered, so it comes kind of like a layered cake. And the problem is when you have a brownout or you have power interruption, all of the layers of the cake can get corrupted. And then it gets confused and it goes into read-only mode, which is what you saw, right?
That's correct.
With industrial grade, what is called SLC, or single layer cell memory, it looks like a regular micro SD card, but it's far from. It's a single layer of silicone that has been tested of all of the little parts of the cake. And rather than being a layered cake, it's one flat cake. So if you get a brownout, you can actually figure out which pieces of the cake aren't working right, and the operating system can repair itself, so to speak.
Yeah.
So by our own testing, using industrial grade single layer cell memory, you're going to have, rather than devices roasting after days or weeks or months, these should stay running, by our math, between 8 to 300 years in the field in difficult brownout environments.
Excellent.
So thanks for being a testimonial, because your background, and specifically being at a university level and experiencing being on the fringe of electrical and how it fries computers, I do want to ask, it's not just us. You have other things there that have the same kind of problems with electrical.
That's correct.
So how often does that happen?
The brownouts can happen every time we get a large windstorm, and the power, like the university power supply, can suffer. And usually we can tell when we come in and certain equipment's been rebooted, because we can tell the power's gone out and then come back on again. It does happen. It can happen once to twice a month, roughly.
Well, we're going to be watching these three devices here running industrial grade single layer cell memory for the next couple of years, and I'm excited to have a second recording with you in a year from now where you can say, yep, we're still at 100%.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you very much.
Okay.